Okay, so then I think we'll get started. Welcome to today's Icebreaker edition. It's our edition number 20 already, so like a little anniversary today. Today's topic is all about clean energy. We'll have 5 startups present themselves in a few minutes. And yeah, I'd like to say welcome to all of you. I think, yeah, clean energy is an important topic, but it also, yeah, has gained some more relevance within the last 2 weeks, I think. So yeah, I'm happy that we have this session here today to learn more about innovative solutions around the topic. Today's Icebreakers is hosted by TechQuartier, and also our partner for today is LandesEnergieAgentur Hessen. We have Meltem as a co-host and co-moderator today. For those of you who don't know TechQuartier, I'd like to say a few words about it and first introduce myself, of course. I'm Sarah Grumert from TechQuartier. I'm the ecosystem manager for the Frankfurt Rhine-Main startup ecosystem here. Yes, so my slides don't, yeah, now it's moving. So this slide gives you like a quick impression of TechQuartier's journey until today. TechQuartier was founded in 2016 in Frankfurt. Our office and co-working space are like centrally located within the heart of Frankfurt, very close to the Messe. And when TechQuartier was founded, the idea was to build like a neutral platform around innovation, to also like foster and bring more entrepreneurial spirit to this strong ecosystem that's developing in the region. In our core, there's always like the community, and around the community, we have built several corporate and startup programs. For example, the Open Innovation Challenge with Bundesbank, or the AgTech Bootcamp by Rentenbank, or several talent programs like AI Talents and many more. This slide gives you like a quick overview of how we understand TechQuartier as a multi-sided platform. As I said, in the core, there's always our community and also the physical space around which we have built several innovation programs such as matchings, incubation programs, and many more that connect all the stakeholders you can see around this platform in meaningful ways to like foster innovation. So the idea is always to also design and co-create new formats together with our partners to help the partners also explore new tech trends and develop their innovation capacities. At the moment, TechQuartier has 30 corporate and academic partners, and on the other side of the community, this is our slide about our startups. So we have like 500, or I think a little more than 500 community members on the startup side at the moment, with quite a growth within the last year, as you can see. 1/3 of our startups are from the region, so from Frankfurt Rhine-Main. The other third is from the German-speaking countries, so the DACH region, and another third of the community startups are from international places. With our origins, of course, we're set in Frankfurt, around the fintech industry, or the financial industry. It's no surprise that also fintech is like the largest community group within the startups, but green tech then is catching up, and you can see all the other categories that are present in our community. Yes, and having said that, I'd like to introduce you to today's Icebreaker concept in case you haven't joined before. So the Icebreakers is a monthly showcase for startups, and we pick one theme per Icebreaker, of course, and also partner with a local organization, which is today LandesEnergieAgentur Hessen. And we'll hear the 5 startups you can see on the left, so Magnoterm, Rely, Coolsense Technologies, Node Energy, and Swena, pitch and introduce their solutions for a sustainable energy transition. After each pitch, which is 5 minutes, there will be a short Q&A session. So feel free to post your questions in the chat during the pitches, or then afterwards just unmute yourselves and ask your questions to the speakers directly. The goal of this Icebreaker concept is, of course, to give visibility to the startups. We encourage you to give feedback to their pitches, products, services, and also have new meaningful connections, maybe today here and also afterwards on different channels. This session is also recorded, so we can share the recording with you afterwards. And yeah, just a quick mention, the next Icebreaker, as I said, it's a monthly format, will take place end of April, 21st April, about prop tech. So as I said, Meltem is our co-moderator today. I'd like to hand the word to you, Meltem, and I quickly click to your slides.
Oh, I think that's not the first slide.
Okay, for me that is. I have this one too, if that is the first one, and I have this.
No. Okay, so yeah, the first one is missing, but that's no problem. So hello everyone, thank you very much, Sarah, and thank you also very much for organizing this event. As Sarah said, I am the co-host and I work at the LandesEnergieAgentur Hessen GmbH, shortly LEA Hessen. And today I'm gonna quickly show you, before we start with the pitches, who we are, what we do, and what we offer for startups, and how all this is also linked to the contest Science for Life. So LEA Hessen is an economic development company, and we work on behalf of the Hessian state government, and we take on central tasks in the implementation of the energy transition and climate protection, which means our motto is together for a climate-friendly future. And our target groups are citizens, cities and communities, sorry, and of course the companies, which also include the startups. And next slide, please. For the startups and also for energy efficiency networks, I am your contact person. You have my contact details here. Also, please feel free to connect with me via LinkedIn. And what we offer, or what the Hessian state offers for energy startups located in Hesse, is the coachings. So you will get a coach, coaches who will work with you for almost a year, and they will work with you on financial topics, on sales and marketing strategy, organization, basically on the business plan, business model. And what they also do is connect you with their network. And in order to qualify for this the support for these coachings, you have to participate on the contest Science for Life. The next slide, please. Thank you. So Science for Life is not only interesting for startups located in Hesse, because it's a contest for Germany, actually for international startups. And I'm not gonna tell you every single detail about the contest. I'm just gonna tell you what makes this contest so unique. So this is of course for energy startups, but also for the industry of chemistry and life sciences. And what is so unique about this contest is that it's not only the financial support you can get, it's not only the coachings, but it's also that you can talk to lawyers, you can talk to investors, which is pretty cool, I think. And yeah, one of the most important things is the network. So industries and people working, companies and industries working in these industries, they know Science for Life, they know the contest, and they also know the startups participating. And I'm very happy to have a few of them here with us today. So we can start with the first one, I would say. The first one is Magnotherm, which is located in Darmstadt. And Magnotherm was the winner of the Science for Life Energy Cup in 2018. And Max is the co-founder and the managing director of Magnotherm and is gonna tell us more about it.
Yeah, hi everybody. Thanks for the introduction. I'm Max. We at Magnotherm are working on a next generation cooling technology. And I want to just post one take-home message for today already. Cooling is one of the most important drivers for global warming. So please remember that every time you turn up your EC at home. So this is my take-home message for today. So if you want to remember one thing, that's it. So why is this the case? Well, we use around 20% of all our electricity today for cooling, and we blow out around 8% of the global greenhouse gases just for cooling. If we look into the year 2050, we see that we emit a total of 9 gigatons of CO2, and that's because the domestic refrigeration market, the commercial refrigeration market, and the unitary air conditioning market is constantly growing, and it's quadrupling over the next couple of years. So what we want to do at Magnotherm is basically change this fact. We have a technology which is based on magnets and some quantum mechanics, where we can save a lot of energy, and we think around 40% of energy can be saved by our technology. It has 0 global warming potentials. And if we look into our business plan and we just calculate our expectations, Magnotherm has the possibility to save up 2 gigatons just in this classic refrigeration sector I've shown you. We're a spin-off from university, so we do deep tech. We developed this technology based on magnetic materials. So I'm a material scientist. We come from material sciences. We develop machines, we develop machine designs, and then we develop aggregates, which we then replace for the gas compressor. As mentioned already, we all believe in thermodynamics and follow thermodynamics. We realize our cooling process by using quantum mechanics, basically. So we play with spins of magnetic materials. So if you're interested in that, you can contact me afterwards. Our first real big market we're going to enter is the commercial refrigeration market. We will work there as a system provider, especially for supermarkets. This is a big thing because energy costs are a real driver there. And sadly, as we have seen the last couple of weeks, energy costs are actually drastically rising currently. We will then continue going to the air conditioning market, including heat pumps and electronics coolings. Here we want to do a licensing models to OEMs because the numbers are really huge, which are sold there every year. And then in the future, what we are currently working on already in research is liquefying hydrogen. And actually also due to the current situation, I think this will come a little bit earlier. So we have a very efficient technology to liquefy hydrogen. All our supply chain, the go-to-market strategy and the business models are validated. We have several NDAs, LOIs, and sale contracts signed for all of these markets we want to enter already. I thought it might be interesting to really show what we've done so far and where we've come, especially to this audience. So we are a spin-off from a research group in Darmstadt, which has over 20 years of R&D experience in permanent magnets and magnetocalorics. Timo and me started with Magnotherm around 2017-18, where we had the idea. We finally funded the company in 2019. We are from today on 25 team members working on this technology. We're a team really from material scientists, physics, electrical engineering, chemistry. So we will span everything to really mechanical engineering, building devices. We have moved to new facilities in Darmstadt-Eberstadt, where we really have enough space. We could acquire around 5 million euros as pre-seed funding and grants so far. We sell 2 devices at the moment for the magnetism and material science community, which we generate around a 6-digit revenue from our products. We work a lot in different research grants and accelerator programs. So I listed a couple of here. So if you're interested in how to apply for them or how to work with them, just contact me. For us, it's really important to work on the supply chain and the customer side. So we have a lot of contracts, a lot of development partnerships already signed. We have signed a pilot partnership where we will launch our first device together with a famous entrepreneur in Germany. We have signed different marketing partnerships, especially in the food retail sector and product development in the food retail sector. And as our achievements, we were rated as top 50 startups in Germany, and we were rated by the Forbes magazine to a spin-off to watch from last year. So hopefully they still watch us this year. And I want to mention again, as mentioned before, Science for Life. We did this very early in 2018, and it helped us a lot to develop all our business ideas. So for everybody in the audience who actually wants to start with something in deep tech, climate tech, or most probably health sector or chemistry sector, just look at it. You learn a lot, and you build up a really good network. So with this, I hope you all follow me on our journey to become a global leader in net zero refrigeration. I hope you're ready for it. And if you have any questions regarding any specialties or investments, talk to my colleague Timur. Here's his contact information. So we are currently raising a seed round. So if you're an investor, contact them. If you're a student or want to work with us, just contact me. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Do we have any questions already from the audience? I would already have one, maybe to break the ice. Max, I know when you started at Science for Life that your business model was a little different. It was more about transportation, cooling transportation. What made you change the idea?
Yeah, our business model has actually changed several times. It's all about the market at the end. So where you can create sales, where you can find interest. So we looked at hundreds of markets so far. The transportation sector is still an interesting market, but there's too many unknown things in this market, where also the suppliers of goods don't even know how much energy is spent on different components. And it's actually really hard to build something which is moving around all of the time. So just from a technical perspective. Yeah, so this but really Science for Life helped us to build our first business plan. It looks a lot different. I mean, it's almost 4 years ago that we did this. It's a lot different from when it was then. But it wasn't too bad, actually, at that point also.
Max, I received a question here from Lars in the chat. How intensive is the maintenance? He's asking.
Yeah, so we actually have a big plus on maintenance here. If you look at a gas compressor, especially in CO2 systems, we work with very high pressures. In our system, we work with 2 to 4 bars of pressure, and we pump water. So humanity is actually quite good in pumping water after a couple of thousand years. And it's very low in maintenance, and you can imagine the maintenance like being in that of your home heating system, just refilling some water from time to time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I think we will hear from Stefan also which other maintenance needs to be done in cooling technologies. For us, that's basically also the same.
There's also another question from Christian. What is your biggest challenge in scaling your product to commercially being able to sell your products?
Supply chain. Really building up a good and stable supply chain. If you don't have a big, let's say, if you don't have a big lobby behind you, let's say it like this.
Do you feel that a lobby is getting bigger though?
Yes and no, both of it. So we see that clean tech is becoming more and more obvious, but really at the end, it's all about the price. And so if the price is a little bit too high, nobody cares about clean anymore.
Okay.
Or very few. I don't say nobody, very few.
Okay, thanks. I think if there are more questions, feel free to post them in the chat and Max can reach out to you afterwards. And for now, we'd like to move on to our next startup, which is Rely. And Laura is going to pitch for Rely. Rely has recently also joined TechQuartier as a member. We're happy to have you also in our ecosystem here. And it's a startup from Darmstadt that is refurbishing batteries from electric vehicles to create energy storage solutions for homeowners. That's how I understand it, but you're going to tell us more now.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, so hello everyone, I'm Laura and I'm the co-founder of Rely. We make sustainable and reliable energy storage solutions for homeowners, and we do it by refurbishing batteries from electric vehicles. So imagine you're a homeowner in Germany and you have solar panels installed on your rooftop. In the last years, you had a lot of incentives from the government to install the solar panels and to sell the excess electricity that you were producing to the grid. In this way, you could make profit out of this energy. However, right now, this is not the case anymore. Incentives are decreasing, and at the same time, electricity prices are rising. At this moment, the investment of solar panels is not really paying off. So the panels are not as profitable as they used to be. So at this point, you might be asking, what can you do to improve the profitability of your solar panels again? Well, one solution is installing energy storage. Energy storage is the perfect solution because you can store the extra electricity you're producing in the battery and then use it later on in the day when you actually need it. So for example, in the evening or in the morning. But installing energy storage comes with challenges. You read articles about the environmental impact of manufacturing these batteries. So sourcing the materials and manufacturing has high CO2 emissions. And at the same time, you see that the price of energy storage is very high and you cannot really afford it after the investment on the solar panels. At this point, you're again confused about what can you do to make your solar panels more profitable. So what if I told you that we had an energy storage solution that had 60% lower carbon emission, 40% lower price, and the same exact lifetime as a brand new battery? In Rely, our goal is to provide you with an affordable, sustainable, and reliable battery box for your house that is made by batteries from electric vehicles that would otherwise be discarded. And we add our innovative battery management system so that you can use your batteries in a safer way, for a longer time, and in a more reliable way. So how do we actually work? We first source batteries from electric vehicles. These batteries contain around 80% of their initial capacity. So it's a lot of capacity that at the moment is not used. These batteries are just wasted. So we get these batteries and we refurbish them. So we dismantle them and we add our electronics and software. For example, our innovative battery management system. After that, we enclose them in our boxes and sell them for second life application in households with solar panels. Finally, after 10 years of usage, we get the batteries back, so we take care of the recycling. So we send it to partners that we know they're going to recycle most of the materials. So not how it's done now, that it's around 60% of the material recycled. So we want to close the loop and make a real impact in circular economy. But we don't provide only batteries. As I said before, we have a smart management system. This includes a battery and energy management system that will take care of the charge and discharge of the battery. Thanks to the smart management system, you can maximize the economic gain of using the battery, and at the same time, having the battery working safely at all time, and then maximize the lifetime of the battery. So getting all the potential out of the battery. Then we also offer an IoT platform and a web application. So our batteries are connected to the internet, and you can monitor through the web app how the battery is performing. And if anything happens to the battery, we are notified as well as you in the web app. So we can take care of any problem immediately. Finally, for our partners installers, we also provide an easy and fast installation. So the batteries are very easy to install in any household. Right now, we already have a prototype and we are almost ready for our first pilot project at the end of this month. We are going to look for investment around August in the summer, and then finally prepare for the launch in January 2023. We are now looking for partners, for also additional team members and investors. So if you're interested in joining us to create a more sustainable circular economy, please contact me in my email or add me on LinkedIn. And I'm happy to answer all your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. I think there is a first question here. Dieter, I don't know if you want to maybe unmute yourself and ask the question yourself.
Happy to. Yeah. Hi. Thanks for the presentation. So really cool. And the topic is spot on in the current environment, no doubt. The question I would have is, I mean, this is pretty heavy on hardware. How would you scale such a business model? At the same time, there are solutions in the market. So what do you consider as your USP over those solutions already available in the market? And finally, how do you ensure to get a hand on the batteries, which are pretty much wished to be used by others as well, from the big automotive players?
Yeah, so our main technology is actually the battery management system. So it's the software that we use for managing the battery. So our main technology is that we are able to extend the lifetime of the battery. So we add 1.5 years more, and then we maximize the economical gain of the customers. So traditional batteries don't really have a battery management system. So the battery is charged and discharged not based on some parameters. So for example, the degradation of the battery and the behavior of the customer. So we are not going to only sell the batteries in the future, the second life batteries, but we'll also be able to sell our solution for other batteries that are second life, but also first life. Your second question, I don't remember anymore.
Was basically, how do you then ensure that you get actually access to the batteries? Because there might be other players in the market. I mean, if you look at the current suppliers of that same battery, they have already battery management solutions available. It's actually installed in my house as well, so I know what I'm talking about. And in so far, wouldn't they be the first guys who try to get a hand on the used batteries?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so currently this is not the case because all the manufacturers need to get back the batteries and send them to recycling. So this is actually a very big cost for the companies. But they, since they don't have the expertise of reusing them, they prefer just to sell them and also get profit out of it because they don't need to take care of the recycling. So they're just giving them away. But this is actually a very complicated situation, and I think is one of the main risks of second life startups, because the market is evolving fast, and the players, the electric vehicles manufacturers, are very big players. So as the market grows and shifts, we don't really know what can happen. But at the moment, electric vehicle manufacturers are happy to give away the batteries. This not including Tesla, that already has their own things in place.
Okay, thanks a lot.
I think the questions, there's more than one from Etienne, also follow up on this. Etienne, do you maybe also want to unmute yourself?
Yes, sure. I wondered, I'm not sure whether you are so far already, but from which car manufacturers can you source the battery cells then?
So right now we are getting the batteries from third parties, so they get them from electric vehicles manufacturers. But in the future, since our technology is basically compatible with mainly all the lithium-ion batteries from electrical, so we want to partner with more electric vehicles manufacturers. But for now, we are using Nissan Leaf batteries. But then in a few months, we hope we can get handed with more other batteries.
Oh, interesting. And I wonder, can you use batteries from different manufacturers or from different cars, like let's say from a Mercedes and from a BMW in one pack combined? Is that be possible? Or?
We are not planning to do that, so we prefer having the same manufacturers together. So the solution is much easier to build. So yeah. But then in different applications, yes.
Okay, interesting. And then my last question would be, after like how many years does a car run until you reach that 80% capacity threshold, and then you guys get the batteries? So how long is the lifetime of the car?
And so this happens after around 10 years. So after 10 years, they have around 80%, and then we can run them for 10 years more.
Okay, thanks a lot. Very, very interesting.
We still have some questions, but I would ask you maybe to chat afterwards, because looking at the time, we have to continue with the next startup. The next startup is Coolsense Technologies. And as Max already said, it has something to do with cooling. So Coolsense Technologies is located in Brunswick, and Stefan is the co-founder of Coolsense Technologies, and he will tell us more. So the stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Meltem, for the kind introduction. And today I want to take you on a trip to the food and beverage industry, indicated by this nice picture that you can see here on my screen. It's actually, you know, many things are happening behind the curtains. It's not as glamorous as you see it in a grocery store where everything is colorful and nice and fancy. When you produce food or when you distribute food, you need to preserve a cooling chain. And energy efficiency for maintaining a cooling chain in the food and beverage industry is something really complicated and consumes a lot of energy. Literally, there's one topic I want to push you into, and this is the topic of icing. So literally, the Icebreaker event is a very nice opportunity to make the point to my next slide. And this is what you typically observe in the food and beverage industry if you are behind the curtains. So you have these heat exchangers that are producing all the cooling in these rooms. And hopefully what you can see there in this picture is that there's a lot of ice and snow accumulating on these systems. Essentially, it's the same principle that happens there when you look into your own deep freezer at home. So if you have a lot of humidity over the months, days, and sometimes years, all this accumulates, and there's a big shelf of ice in your freezer. And that's the same scenario that you're facing also in the food and beverage industry. Unfortunately, this ice has very much adverse effects on the energy efficiency. And you have these figures that I'm just repeating from those from Max. You know, 14% of annual power production is used for this refrigeration, and 45 million of tons of CO2 emissions are produced every year by refrigeration. You can see that if you manage to get master hands on the icing process, you have a strong leverage on energy efficiency. Currently, to get rid of the ice, people use scheduled defrosting technology. So this means in all these control devices, there's a timer, and the timer is, for instance, set on 6 hours intervals. So every 6 hours, there's a defrost process going on, regardless of whether there's a lot of ice, only tiny ice, or no ice at all. And realizing that this defrosting takes you a lot of energy, we thought as a startup it would be very important to do something transitioning away from pre-scheduled defrosting towards on-demand defrosting. And therefore, we have developed and implemented a system which enables this on-demand defrosting. So what we do as one of our unique selling points, we have developed with our expertise a direct ice detector, which you can see here in this picture. And this ice detector is mounted on the heat exchangers and give you an information how much ice has already accumulated. And with this sensor technology, we can then take over and feed the control system of the refrigerators and say, like, now it's not a good time for defrosting, or now it's the best time, because now by doing it right now, you do a lot of savings of energy. We combine this Ice Detector with a lot of other monitoring devices. So for instance, in such a food and beverage distribution center, there's a lot of logistics happening. So you need to check if the doors are open and closed, to which frequency this is done. You need to check what is the temperature and humidity inside these rooms, and we combine this all together with artificial intelligence. We have developed their controller that then really calculates what's the best measure to do defrosting. Thereby, we really save a lot of energy. It depends in which companies you are, but more than 10% of energy savings are possible. And this is why we are already into the market. So we could convince many companies to say, this is interesting for us. So we have implemented our solutions at the client spots and creating added value, both for the end consumer, but also for us as a companies. We combine what we call a Technikpaket. So it's a hardware package combined with the service package, where we have all our artificial intelligence combined, where, let's say, on a monthly fee basis, we can optimize these cooling systems. So a lot of energy savings possible. And on my last slide, I have the founder team, David, Juan, and myself, looking back on a track record of more than 10 years in the field of icing that we spent together. And we are very happy to get in contact with you. There are some contact details at the bottom of this slide. And really be happy to increase our network, get to know you better, and open for questions. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you very much. And what I didn't mention before is that you're one of the participants of the Science for Life Energy Cup from this year. So I am very curious to see the progress. Do we have any questions already? Sarah, I think the question was for the Relay, right?
Yeah, I think that was for Relay, yeah. But I would have a question, Stefan. So you mentioned the food and beverage industry, but is this like the only industry you're focusing on, or is your product or your solution like transferable to other industries too?
Yes, actually, we are transferring our technology to many other industries. So, for instance, we are also on the renewable energy market because wind turbines, for instance, also need, let's say, technology to improve the situation for winter periods when there's also ice accumulation on wind turbines. And, you know, no one really wants to have the situation that everything is switched off in terms of power production over the winter months. So it's very unpleasant for everyone. But also, you know, in the pharmaceutical industry, there's this need of cooling. So whenever there are refrigeration processes or, let's say, outside scenarios when winter is coming and solutions are needed, we are a good partner for that. We also have quite a number of international clients based on this expertise of outside weather, winter control, and food and beverage is, let's say, really one of our very strong home markets here in Germany, because we see that there's a lot of potential possible, and many companies are interested in that.
Yeah, and as Max showed us before, the market can always change. So let's see.
Yeah, happily, you know, we all need food, and happily, you know, we have these very high quality standards of cold food needs to be preserved from the production side until to the end consumer, and therefore this refrigeration market in the food industry is really a big one, and we are quite confident that this market will sustain.
Okay. I don't see any other questions in the chat, but if there are any, or if more questions come up, just feel free to post it in there, and then we can just maybe move on to the next startup, which is LandesEnergie. We have Matthias Kager from LandesEnergie. They're a member of TechQuartier, I don't know for how many years, maybe since the beginning already, I'm not sure about that, but for many years. And LandesEnergie develops a software that helps companies to switch to renewable energy. So Matthias, if you can start sharing your screen and start with your pitch, please.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Sarah. Yes, I'm happy to be here. First of all, I need to say sorry because for some reason I didn't realize that the pitches are meant to be in English. My slides are in German, but I'm going to present in English and hope that will work out good. So let's switch to presentation mode. Yeah, my name is Matthias. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO of LandesEnergie. We are a Frankfurt-based company, as Sarah already mentioned. We had our birth hour in TechQuartier. So in the first years of our existence, we had our desks in TechQuartier in Frankfurt. We moved on since we grew quite significantly in the last few years. We are around about 40 people working at LandesEnergie, and we are building software as a service solutions which allow the business models of a CO2-free energy world. Our aim is to make energy really simple. We believe that we have the hardware to make the transformation to a climate-friendly energy system, but there are quite some obstacles to overcome also on the commercial and administration side, and this is where we are working on. In the next few years, the energy market is going to transform dramatically. I think also the current situation in Ukraine shows us the urgency to do so. Until 2035, the German energy sector, at least the power sector, shall be CO2 free. And how is this going to happen? There are plenty of new renewable power plants, especially wind farms and solar power plants, who are going to be installed. Many of them are on rooftops, supplying the building users, the tenants of the buildings, with electricity, but also industrial and commercial consumers are producing their own electricity for self-consumption. And this is going to be a huge transformation, switching from fossils and nuclear power plants to renewable energy power plants. The problem is that all operators of renewable energy power plants are facing a couple of bureaucratic, regulatory, and processual challenges. This means, for example, billing. This means coping with regulation and laws, processes which have been initially been designed for incumbents like larger electricity companies and utilities. But in the future, new business models will evolve, and these business models are the new business of renewable energy power plant operators like wind farm operators. They're going to sell their electricity over the grid directly to end consumers. They are producing their own electricity, consume it directly for themselves. They are producing electricity on the rooftops of buildings and supply other building tenants without using the public grid. These new business models are complex, besides the technical challenges, especially from the processual and commercial perspective. Here is our solution. Our solution is a software as a service model. It's called OptiNode, and OptiNode allows renewable power plant operators to evaluate new business models, to implement these business models, and to run these business models in a highly automated way and in a very compliant way, so without missing any regulatory frameworks which are valid for them. Why is now the right time for this? All renewable power plant operators are feeling the push and the pull of this transformation. We are migrating from a a state subsidized system where every renewable power plant received a feed-in tariff, to a much more market-based system. Every renewable power plant of the future needs to finance itself in the market. We see at the moment skyrocketing energy prices for gas and for electricity. So there are big opportunities for renewable energy power plant operators to sell their electricity into the market. But this also, again, needs new business models. And established software solutions for the energy market are not built and designed for renewable energy power plant operators. They are built and designed for large utilities like E.ON or Vattenfall, but they are not designed for community financed wind farms or solar power plant operators. The market is big already today and is growing massively. Our beachhead market is Germany. Here we are seeing an annual recurring revenue potential of almost 2 billion euros. This is only Germany. We see that there's a large convergency across all European countries to adapt to similar frameworks. So this business model can be exported to other European countries. In the last years, we have been focusing on Germany, and we assume that in 2 years, we are going to challenge the first international market. Germany, by the way, is the best market to start this kind of business, simply because the already existing penetration of renewable energy power plants for an industrialized nation of the size of Germany is outstanding worldwide. The product itself, as I said, is a software as a service solution, so a web application. You can manage energy compliance duties. You can track the performance of your power plants and the business models itself. You can do billing, you can check invoices, and you can calculate the profitability of your business models. We have built the software solution on our own in-house developed data model, which contains all regulatory and legal frameworks which need to be considered. We can API-based connect to third-party solutions like energy management systems. We can connect to the technical operating systems of these power plants, but also to legal authorities or public authorities like Hauptzollämter and other things like this. We develop our software in-house. We have a software development team of 15 people growing, and the aim of this product is, as I said, to enable power plant operators to participate, to realize, and to efficiently run these new business models as depicted on the right side. This is it from my side. I'm happy to hear your questions. Please also check out our website. We have a couple of open positions, and we are growing. You do not need to be from Frankfurt. You can work remotely. We are a remote first company, and please check out the website. You can connect directly to me via email or phone. So I'm happy to hear from you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Matthias. I also liked that call to action in the end. We have two questions in the chat. One is from Dieter from Optinode. How can you adapt your solution to other like foreign regulatory frameworks or environments?
So we have designed something we call a business rule engine. This business rule engine is currently fed with German regulatory frameworks and laws. But this business rule engine can also be used to comply with international or foreign frameworks. We do not aim to understand the international energy markets and frameworks ourselves as deep as we do it here in Germany. But we have already today strong partnerships, actually also clients from the legal advisory and financial advisory sector. And we collaborate with those partners to understand how exactly the frameworks work in different countries. It's clear that in the first instance, we would probably not go to Luxembourg, but we would probably go to other larger countries like Italy, Spain, or France to adapt to those larger size markets.
Okay, and looking at the time, maybe we'll go through one question. Do you also have APIs to the ERP systems of energy suppliers, since one of your features is billing? Patrice wants to know.
We are actually currently working on this to connect to the accounting and billing systems, which are standard, so to say. At the moment, there's an import and export solution with which you can transfer the billing data, but the invoices itself are generated by the software automatically.
Okay.
Christian, I'm so sorry, I have to skip your question again, but please feel free to chat afterwards, because we have one last startup, not the least, definitely. It's Zoena, located in Hamburg. And Zoena was one of the winners from last year's Science for Life Energy Cup. And we have the two co-founders here. It's Miguel and Leonard. So two people will be presenting.
All right. Thanks, Malcolm, for the introduction. As you heard, we are Zoena, and Zoena stands for Sustainable Energy Applications. And we developed the autopilot for energy storages. So this autopilot is the software which optimizes the operation of grid-scale energy storages in combination with renewable energies. But why are we doing this? So we have an increasing share of renewable energies, which is very important to enable the energy transition. But it creates major challenges for the plant operators, our customers. So these are fluctuating power sources, they are weather depending, and it's really difficult to predict how much energy I will produce. But I need to do so to sell it on the energy markets. And these energy markets are going more and more crazy and more volatile, as we know. So the problem here is, if there's a lot of sun or wind, the prices are mostly very low and we get less prices or lower prices. And we have an increasing risk of balancing cost. So if we cannot produce the energy which we sold on the market, we have to pay a balancing price, and also this price is increasing. So this all leads to low and less plannable revenue for the plant operators, which is bad for a business case. So the big question is how I can make my revenue more plannable and how I can increase it. For this, we need flexibility, but renewable energies are not flexible at all. What we can do is install a storage. With storage, we can decouple the market and generation over time. Simply said, we can charge a battery when the prices are low, discharge a battery when the prices are high. But it's more complex, and it needs to have good trading strategies. And also, as we heard before, storages are quite expensive. So the question in the market is also how I do really make best use of my storage to have an economical advantage of the storage. And storages are software-defined assets. The better the quality of the software, the better the quality of the returns. In short, the Zoena, the better. So how it works? We have the energy plants on one side, and we have our energy management system, Zoenas, which enable the multi-use operation. This means we can provide more than one application at the same time. We can do this for standalone storages, but also for co-located storages in combination with renewable energies. On the other side, we have the markets and applications. Really interesting at the moment is the intraday market, where we can also use the storage to reduce our self-consumption or match the generation forecast. And we connect the markets and applications with the energy plans throughout our autopilot. And we're offering two services. One is analyzing and sizing. So we transform the opportunities of a storage into a trading strategy, and we help with the decision of the investment. And of course, we do the optimization of the operation. So this autopilot decides how much energy I have to sell at what market, at what time to get the highest revenue.
Yeah, but why Soena? Well, on one side, it's a modular design of our software that enables us to be flexible on market changes and also customer requirements. That also means that we are very scalable and that we're storage technology independent compared to, well, competitors such as STEM or Fluence. In these uncertain times, we give our customers a financial planning certainty so that they can plan again with their revenues. Since we focus on the multi-use of energy storage systems, we also distinguish ourselves from classical traders such as Vattenfall or newer solutions, next Kraftwerke. Our software is very automatic, meaning that we connect directly to the energy storage and to the software of the energy trader, meaning there is minimal interaction needed from the customer, and thereby we can reduce the human error, but also the total cost of ownership compared to competitors or classical optimization software like Beverage. Our customers are energy plant operators like EMBW or Encavis, and energy traders such as Vattenfall. We want to contact them by direct sales, especially in the beginning, and later we see the best way through OEM partnerships with battery system suppliers or project developers in renewable energies. Of course, the market is increasing. We saw that already. So we're starting in Germany, which is already one of the biggest markets, and we want to expand to the US American, but also Asian market, because we see there's the biggest potential. Where do we stand at the moment? We're exist funded, and this year, actually, our focus is on the pilot customers and to develop our software to market maturity. We also finished just quite quickly now the first financing round, so that we can expand to the European, but also to the Asian and US American market later. So we've closed our round now with 1.25 million, which gives us a runway of, well, until mid next year. And there we're looking for a seed round of around 2 million. It's not just us three founders. By them, I mean Tom. Tom is the guy who develops, Leonard sells, and I deliver. But we also have software developers with us, and we're obviously always increasing, and we're looking for new support in the project management, sales, but also, of course, developers. All right, that's it from us, and we're excited to hear your questions if you have any.
Great, thank you very much. In case anybody wants to unmute themselves, please feel free. Otherwise, I of course have a question again. So since, I mean, I met you the first time last year, well, what would you say, what changed since then? I can see some little changes also in the slides, and did the business model change in a huge way from last year?
Yeah, who starts? Yeah, exactly. So of course we see a lot of transformation now in the energy market, and so we have to adapt to that. And we're always looking into the market and looking where the biggest opportunity is and where we have to position ourselves, right? Because the key point for startups is to really find the niche where we can position ourselves. So
yeah, exactly. The trading, of course, with storages are becoming more and more interesting because of the markets. And this is something where we hear from the customers that they really want to be able to do this right now or yesterday. So this is something we really have to accelerate with. And also we changed that we do the reports. So we use our software to create on historical data, like reports for them, how is the advantage of a storage in combination with renewable energies? And there we get a lot of questions about it. Yeah,
I can imagine that. We have a question from Dieter. How is your preferred go-to market? Dieter, you can also unmute yourself if you want to. So
yeah, certainly. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. So the question I would have, is it a direct play? Is it an indirect play? Are you going through an ecosystem with partners, or is it always direct? So I just want to understand the effort you have to pre-invest before you close the deal, because in your business model, there are many people, I guess, who need to be convinced before the first euro is flowing in your direction.
Yeah, well, we prefer indirect, but at the moment we do mostly direct. So, but why we prefer it also and indirect is because the market is still growing very fast, and we want to grow with the market, with a supplier of energy storages. So this is what we're really focusing on.
Yeah.
And of course, yeah, there are many actors in the market we have to talk to. But as there is such a big need for this flexibility, also now on the producer side, so for operators of like wind parks and solar parks. So we really talk mostly directly to the decision makers, and so it goes really fast, even faster than we ever expected.
So what would you assume your average lead time is? So is it a month or is it a year or something in between?
Yeah, no, I think it's at the beginning where we're still developing. So I would say it's a pilot project. So at the moment it's like 3 to 6 months, I would say, until it's really running. And then we will reduce it, of course, to maybe 1.5 months in this future or even shorter. Let's see. But of course, there's also the technical part. There's a battery, the controller and everything. So it has to be installed. There are a lot of really good regulatories. You have the grid operators. And so, but on the other side, then it's then you have a big chance with this project, with this tool. Yeah. So it needs a lot of time, but we really want to, increase it, decrease it. I mean,
can I ask one element? So, whom would you consider to be the biggest beneficiary from your business model? Whom would you see as the biggest beneficiary? Who benefits most from your solution?
Well, directly, it's of course the operator of the plants, but also, of course, the whole system. But what we do is we're enabling like using storages in an economical way. And of course, what the problem is when we have a lot of wind or solar, we have low prices. And then on the other side, then the gas, we need like gas power plants or even coal at the moment. But then sometimes the prices are going crazy high at the moment. So of course, we need something to switch it in between, and this in a very smart way. So of course, the whole system also has an advantage in the energy transition. But of course, directly in an economical way is the operator.
Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Okay, and I think this was the final question for today's Icebreakers. I want to thank all of you, the speakers, but also Meltem, for your time and the interesting pitches. I think we learned quite a lot. One example is the Soena, the better. I learned that. And many companies in the food and beverage industry need to learn when is the right point to break the ice. So these are only 2 takeaways of today. Before we end the session, I would like to ask my colleague Florian to share a quick feedback questionnaire. Yeah, there it is. Please rate how likely you would like to recommend the Icebreaker format to a colleague or a friend. We're happy to hear your feedback to develop our format. And after this session, we're also, of course, going to share the recording. So feel free to share it with your colleagues, your network, anyone who's interested in the topic. And I'm looking forward to also seeing you at the next Icebreakers on 21st of April. And hope you have learned a lot and can build meaningful new connections also after today's Icebreaker session. Thank you to everyone involved. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks
Bye.
a lot.
See you.